Hello, welcome back, and thanks for joining me. In this video, I'm just going to show a little effects chain I've been playing with in Ableton, with all stock Ableton tools, and I've been using it when I'm trying to get something to go over something a bit broken beat. I don't typically make broken beat tracks, it's typically 4/4, but for little pauses and little different passages in my tracks, I do still have broken beat stuff in there, and also in breakdowns and stuff like that. I typically like to have something not 4/4. So this is something I've been doing where I can throw any sound in there and just try and warp it and fuck it up a little bit so I can try and suit something a bit more broken beat. But of course you can do this on any sound for any occasion, but I've just been doing it in this context. So we'll get straight into it. We've got a loop going, pretty standard, and then over here I'll turn the chain off. It's just I've pulled this sample from Ableton. There we go, Foley Bolt, Ableton 11. That's unprocessed. Now I'll go through this chain in a moment, but I'll play it with it on now. So you can probably hear what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just have the effects past the original sample point, that weird tail. That's pretty much what I'm looking for. I can use it in the context of leaving the chain on live in the project and then playing with parameters as I go. But as you know me, I would generally probably get it to a point where I like it and freeze it and then take what I want out of that frozen audio sample. So I'll go through the chain first, then I'll show you a live application, and then I'll show you what you can do once it's frozen. So I've got EQ8 at the start, just to shape things, followed by amp. It's on the rock setting. I like the heavy setting too. I've taken the bass out. The dry wet's only on 60%. Bit of erosion on the wide noise setting. I've got a typical echo straight out of the box. I haven't even touched it. I've just brought down the dry wet. But for me, the magic of this little chain's coming from the shifter. I'm using it on pitch mode. I've got the delay on. The feedback's up past 50%. The dry wet overall's not that much. And I've got the LFO running too. So when you pull shifter out of the box, it's pretty good standalone. You can get pretty deep with it, especially if you use it on the ring mode. You can use the coarse to pitch it down or up in semitones and really get it to fuck your sample up or your beat up or your VST, whatever it is. So if I play it in context with the whole chain on, you can hear the LFO. You can hear it past the point of when the sample stops. That's probably working in conjunction with the echo as well. So for me, in a broken, doing it over the top of a broken beat application, I like it because it's a bit odd. It's not really, it's in sync, but it's weird. And what you can do is you can either pull textures from that, because you can hear it sort of swooping around, right? Swishing around. You can either pull textures from that to use in introductions or in breakdowns, or you can leave the original sample in there and have that part of your percussion loop or however you want to do it. So if I just play with the shifter a bit, if I go fully wet, obviously it's going to get more intense. And if you play with the chords, you can pitch it up in semitones. You obviously can fine tune it. But you can play with the rate, and sample and hold from LFO is good too. You can even use this for glitches. I like to bring it back to have a bit of the dry signal in there. So you can get pretty subtle between the feedback and the dry. Sounds more like a typical delay there though. That's why I like to push it a bit more. It's still somewhat in time, which is good. But ring mode. Get the LFO back on a triangle. If you play for the ring mode, no, maybe it was frequency mode, sorry. Every time I kept saying ring mode, I was thinking frequency mode. So you get the gist of it. I use it on pitch mode though. So going into that, obviously we've got so many parameters before it between the amp, erosion, and echo. So there's already 1,000 million different possibilities you can fuck around with. I mean, and the EQ too. I've got utility after the shifter, just so, because I'm conscious of the stereo feel. A bit loud, but at least it's muddling out a little bit. So, over the breakbeat, I've been enjoying it. You can use it in any context though, obviously. However, normally I'd get it to a point where I'm happy with it. And if it's a simple process and it's not too crazy, I'll just leave it live. It's already an audio channel, it's not a MIDI channel. So it's not going to bother me with CPU. And I'll just let it run through the project as the cursor runs through live, right? But I do like to freeze it to audio and flatten it to get the actual new sample, the new waveform, because you'll see here if we mute this one now. Or you can resample it like I've shown you before and record a whole session of it for 5 minutes and then take out what you want. The reason why I do this is because I work quite visually. I like to chop up and see what else I can get out of that, because I already like it, that's why I've used it, that's why I've frozen it, but what else can I get? Like to me, my ER, because we can copy again, right? You don't need to be limited to one. I love these little sounds that aren't part of the original sound source. I could turn that into anything, but you know, already just with the fade, you can see what I'm doing. But I chop up shit all the time. Let's bring the loop back in. Oh, excuse me. Now this is unprocessed, and I will take it further than this. I'll just, for demonstration purposes though, but you can see that little click is fucking cooking me. I'd obviously get rid of that for mixing purposes. But, you know, as I said, you can even go back in, if you want to be a funny cunt, and throw it back on there, that chain, and see what you can get on top of now a new wet result of the original sample. I'll suck a rumble out of there easy. The lower you go. So now I've duplicated, right? So let's go back to the top chain. Fuck this off. So just as an example, right? Oh, I'm going down a tangent now because I'm getting excited, but listen to this shit now. We can pitch up. Now, if I was, you can just resample that, play with those parameters live, and you can start creating sweeps, effects, build-ups, all sorts of shit, right? And that's the beauty of resampling audio, because you can do all that shit live and just catch it in, you know, a 5-6 minute jam recording, and then take these little bits out that you like. But let's not get too carried away. If I pause that, even if we didn't re-effect what we got here, you know, you could chop that, process that, group that. What I would probably do is group these cunts together. Call it whatever you want, right? And then probably process the group so it's at least global or uniform, but not that there's rules, but that's how I would probably do it. But I guess coming full circle, either way, what I wanted to demonstrate, you can get a cool breakbeat percussive sound to throw on top of an already broken beat foundation. Again, you can do it in any context. There's no rules to this, but that's what I've been using that little chain for. You saw it, you can make it yourself. If you want it, if there's enough people that want it, hit me up in the comments and I'll post it out for nothing. But when we go back into the bastard down the bottom, right, let's have a listen. I'm not even automating anything, right? So you could imagine if I got an LFO and let's duplicate it a couple of times. Let's map the chord. Let's map the LFO rate. Map the dry wet. Yeah, we've got amp settings. White noise, percussion. The echo's off, you can even turn that back on. Echo's shit in that scenario, but what I'm saying is, coming back around to what the whole point of this video is, even if you take the LFOs off, let's delete the LFOs. Let's go this way. You know, playing with this rate, playing with that rate, and pitching up and down the coarse and also the sample transpose pitch, right? As I said, if you hit record and just resample, you can get some crazy shit and then take out of that what you want. But coming back full circle, everything you just heard came from this. You know, which is here. I don't know why it's got a different name, but it's the same sound. So then, you know, to demonstrate what I'm talking about, if we go back into that original chain, I've just in samples in Ableton, let's have a scroll. use any sound, obviously, but let's just try it. Fucking vocals sorted. Command J. Vocals are fucking sorted. Anyway, you get the point. So the chain is, I called it breakbeat mistress. EQ8, Ableton amp, erosion, white noise, standard echo, no presets, standard shifter, no presets, then utility to mono some stuff out. You can do whatever you like with it. Group it together. Most of the settings are generic, but all the creativity parts probably coming from the echo going into the shifter, then messing with the coarse and the LFO of the shifter on pitch mode. But very simple chain, but as you saw, if you let that chain do the heavy lifting and leave a few things to chance and just fuck around with things, you can see how we took that simple knock or perk clap sound into some pretty crazy shit. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Check it out. If there's enough gossip about it, I'll release that effects chain. The Kickfucker did really well. So yeah, hit subscribe, follow. I'll have more weekly stuff coming out. Mixing, mastering, hit me up. Arrivederci.